noise.
Hello, welcome to the 4th Annual Film Industry Mixer. Thank you for joining us, and we are so glad to see you guys. I'm Dina Merlin. I am an entertainment attorney from the law firm Revis Parent Lehrer, where we practice in the areas of film, television, music, theater, dance, all kinds of good fun stuff and more. And I'm really excited to be here with this gang. I had the incredible pleasure of getting a very private screening of None of That, a Scorpio Films, a little earlier today. And we ran out of time, so I didn't get to see the whole thing. And it's a cliffhanger. I want to see the rest. Think The Sound of Music meets Death Wish. And yeah, so I want to just start out with quick introductions. Why don't we start at the far end? Could you each take, and I'm going to actually be the bitch with the clock. I'm going to try to keep us each to at least, no more than a minute as we just roll down, starting from the end on introductions. Then we'll start up with some juicy questions.
Hi, I'm Ted Marr. I'm the film's producer, co-writer, and filling in for half of Richard Griffin's brain because he's not here today. Unfortunately, he's ill. So, but we're married, so I can answer pretty much any question and some more that you don't want to ask.
My name is David LaValle Jr. I am an actor and a fight choreographer.
I'm Jacob Larimore. I was the director of photography on None of That.
My name is Alex Sapola, and I am one of the actresses from None of That.
My name is Sarah Nicklin. I am an actress. I play Sister Kelly Rath.
Hi, my name is Michael Reed, and I play both Jesus and the devil.
Good combination. Okay, so I think the first thing I would like to ask about, because again, I didn't see nearly enough of this film. It is funny, it is gory, it is sexy, it's got lots of nuns. And I could certainly see it being controversial. So my first question is whether, I know the film is at this point in limited theatrical release. Have you hit that wave of controversy yet, or is it just waiting to happen?
We really wish that Rudy Giuliani was still the mayor of New York City and that we were showing the film there. We actually attempted to get the Diocese of Rhode Island to come and see, or maybe it's the Diocese of Providence, I don't know. We dropped off some literature with them. They didn't send either any representatives or any protesters, which broke my little heart. But when it's playing in New York, I hear they've got a new cardinal there, and he's a real jokester. So maybe it'll be up his alley. I look forward to any controversy this film might generate. Yes.
We have actually had a real nun saw the trailer, and she keeps a pretty popular nun blog. And
it's called A Nun's Life.
A Nun's Life, and she wrote about it. And she was very open-minded. It was very, she found it to have a very empowering female message, and even though it does portray certain stereotypes as far as nuns in Hollywood, she was pretty excited about it, which we
actually had
surprised
a lot
by.
of controversy.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Less controversy than expected, unfortunately.
Yeah.
She even mentioned some of the lesbian scenes and things like that, and she just thought it was great.
Which makes you wonder about certain nuns. There are always questions.
Well, it was so funny. I was in hysterics watching it. I hope everybody here has a chance to see this film. Let's start with you, Sarah. It was such an interesting role. I just want to ask, what did you do to prepare for it?
Well, I tried to find any sort of repressed anger that I had since my character is Sister Wrath, and so full of wrath. Lots of anger, lots of fighting, that sort of thing. I tried to do some research on the sort of the femme fatale sort of roles and what characterized those actresses, and try to model the character after that, since it sort of is a femme fatale sort of film.
Don't be modest. She joined a convent for 3 years.
and she came out and could kick ass. No, there's a reason I put Jesus between me and the nun. She is all that. It's incredible. But that actually leads to my next question about the fighting, and maybe we can speak with our fight choreographer, Mr. David. Am I pronouncing it right? David LaValle?
That's correct.
LaValle. How was it like choreographing the many fight scenes, and did you guys employ stunt doubles, or did you all get your own bruises? And tell me about it.
The fighting actually did not use any stunt doubles. We did have stunt doubles for other action scenes, but the actual fighting was done by the actual actors that you see, which is a real testament to their abilities. It really helps as a fight choreographer if you have actors that have some stage combat experience, some experience with fake fighting, because I've worked on other films and it's very difficult to work with actors that don't have that type of experience. It takes a long time, but I was able on this film to work very quickly in choreographing the fight scenes. I think the most time that I had to choreograph a fight was probably like the day before we actually filmed one of the fight scenes. And the other fight we choreographed on set right before we filmed it, and it went off pretty well. So yeah, it was fairly easy to choreograph these fights. I mean, I kept it fairly simple as far as the moves that we employed, but it was all about really backing it up with the proper amount of intensity. And I feel everyone involved really did that very well. So I'm very happy. Fantastic.
And there is a lot of blood and gore. So this is just a question for all the actors involved. How was the makeup process, well, especially for the victims who are not among us, the more bloody victims. Although, was there anyone you got shot? Yes. Who got killed here? Anyone?
Sarah
you got
was
killed?
originally shot.
I do
before
get
she
shot.
was
You got
You
killed.
got your balls broken, David.
Yeah.
Yes.
It killed my social life.
It took a lot longer to get that effect than we thought, by the way. It's not easy to
Pop
bust
someone's
balls.
pop
balls.
somebody's ball.
I
Literally.
think the best person to direct this question to is probably going to be Michael Reed, because although he's an actor, he also doubled as doing a lot of our makeup effects. A lot of the bruising is all Michael's handiwork. He doesn't talk about it much, but he's pretty accomplished in that area.
Thank you. Yeah, the effects are really, I mean, they're extreme to the. This film has kind of more of a 70s kind of Italian horror cinema kind of feel to it. So there's going to be a lot of effects that are going to be extreme, and they're not going to be sort of brutal realism that you see nowadays in, of course, higher budget as well. I mean, we are a low budget film, but the effects, they employed me. I've been, an artist for a lot of my life, and they came around and said, "Can you do this? Do you want to try and help out?" And I did, and the effects were pretty pleasing, and so they kept me on as one of the makeup artists. We did have a makeup artist,
Yeah,
Brian
we had
Casey,
quite a
that
help.
we hired in the area as well to do the major effects as far as shotguns blowing faces off and stuff like that. But which we did incorporate some CGI effects as well, which blended really nice. I mean, it's not the outright CG effects where they look really cheesy and horrible. It's just enough CG that will blend with the practical effects that look really good.
Generally speaking, for example, when we had a bullet hit, we would do the post-hit effect practical. We would have not a squib, but something that we call our chunk blower to blow blood out the back of where the exit wound should be, and then we add a little bit of punch to the entry wound with CGI. So it avoids most of the problems with CGI while still employing the really wonderful ease of it.
Why don't we take it back a step, and if somebody would volunteer to kind of, in a nutshell, describe what the movie is about?
Anyone? I can do
Okay.
this, but it's not my thing.
It's a supernatural vigilante nun who is sent to heaven to receive training from some of the Bible's deities
And Gandhi.
and Gandhi.
Gandhi, yeah.
And is then sent back down to Earth to join the Order of the Black Habit, which is a group who fights the mob.
Crime.
Basically.
Crime. It just so
Crime.
happens that the mob was their pinpoint at that point, but the mob was the focus of the film.
So you've got your basic vigilante nun film, you know.
Yeah, it's really formula. Really, this is a clone of every other vigilante nun film that's ever been made. It's so derivative.
It was really fun to watch. Now there was a lot of Connecticut talent in your production, I understand, and I found it really interesting to see the locations that had been selected. There was some great New England blight spots that I saw. So I'd love to just ask about your casting process and your location process in terms of how you tapped Connecticut and New England and the Northeast.
I was born and raised in Connecticut, but then have since moved to Rhode Island, which is where the production company's based out of. One of the nice things about living in a gritty post-industrial city is that there is blight.
Good blight.
Wherever you need it, you can find some blight. So that it's pretty easy to find. You just have to look. For our casting process, we had open auditions, but that only yielded us a few of our people. For the most part, we tend to work with people we've worked with before, just for reliability's sake and because we know what they're capable of, and they're great people, and so we'd like to have them back again and again. But one thing that I found really incredibly useful was casting for our large crowd scenes, which generally you don't have many of those in a small budgeted film, just because it is impossible until recently to find the right number of people who have a look vaguely like what you're looking for, unless you want to go through a casting agency and pay through the nose. So instead what we did is we went to our film space? Somebody's film space. Ourfilmspace.com.
Yes.
Which is a mostly Boston but also Rhode Island website. And we put out casting calls saying, men over 30. And, men over 30 would show up dressed as mobsters. And we'd be like, wow, this is so awesome. So that we really lucked out on that. Information technology for the win.
Great. So I think my next question is for Michael. You played Jesus. And was it intimidating filling such big shoes as our Lord and Savior?
Oh, God. No, it really wasn't.
He is our Lord and Savior.
He's an average, everyday man, So I didn't go do any big research. I didn't do anything that, I didn't go watch Passion of the Christ. I didn't go and do anything like that.
Too bloody.
No, I didn't want to have the stereotypical situation, and our Jesus isn't the kind of stereotypical Jesus anyway. He's more of a debonair kind of suave. He's got these nuns that love him, and
He has groupie nuns.
I have groupie nuns, and it was he's totally different than any kind of Jesus you would see on any cinema or stage. More like a Jesus, rock star Jesus. Someone help me. Jesus Christ Superstar, kind of that, but a little bit more debonair and sort of like
Less a hippie.
less a hippie. He's not a hippie. He's more of a he's more of a jive turkey kind of Jesus Christ. And so I didn't try to go for anything. Didn't try to employ any kind of Jesus Christ that I saw or stereotype. So it was
Okay. Well, I have a lot more questions, but why don't I turn to you guys and see if any of you have any questions? Not a question. How long was the shoot?
Our shoot went from about November to February, all weekends. With the 1 or 2 weekends off for holidays and a snowstorm. So that's about give or take. And then we had some second unit that went into March, 1 or 2 weekends, I think.
All right. Do we have filmmakers in this audience? A lot. Okay. So then here's a question. What is the first thing that someone should do before trying to put together an independent film and get it distributed?
Anyone?
Lots of pre-production. You
Yeah.
can't plan enough. You got to break down a wicked tight schedule for your actors and crew. I think that is a huge thing that people overlook in independent film is you got to have a schedule because things will go wrong, and they always will. And you got to have a tight schedule, and you got to give it to your cast and crew a good deal, like a while. You got to give them time to prep because everyone's trying to work and everyone's working. A lot of people working 9 to 5s, and we're shooting on weekends or after work, and just a tight schedule is one thing. That's the main thing that I would say for you guys.
I'm going to actually, I mean, it sounds like I'm disagreeing with Michael, but I'm kind of giving a complimentary look to it, which is to say, for God's sakes, don't overplan, just make an effing film. Like, seriously? I've seen way too many people who are like, oh, yeah. No, I've got a plan. It's a great plan. It's a great plan. I've been planning for 5 years. I will never actually make this film. That's the part they don't say. But, really, you need to jump in with both feet.
Sometimes we're definitely flying by the seat of our pants. So that's the way it goes, but that's the way you get it done.
I would say you also need to think outside the box. I like the saying, an independent film, it's not whether the glass is half empty or half full, it's does it have to be a glass? For example, we have a shower scene in None of That, and it was very difficult to find a location that is a wide open shower that we could actually get for an affordable price. And
For some reason, elementary schools don't want you shooting a lesbian nun hitting on another nun.
Go
in
figure,
their
go
house. I
figure.
don't know what their problem is.
So what we ended up doing is Ted built it in their apartment. He built the shower
In the living room.
In the living room. So it's you never underestimate what you can make with your own 2 hands.
Linoleum.
Great.
Linoleum is your friend.
Great.
I'd like to
Yes.
add a quote from the director of the film, Richard Griffin. He always tells us that we need to think of the solution, don't think about the problem.
It's very
Great.
Buddhist.
Okay, I have another question. You'd mentioned using ourfilmspace.com as a resource. Can you tell me about any relationships Scorpio Film has with Connecticut film groups or organizations or other use of social networking sites that you found useful?
Well, okay. Our DP, Jacob, is a resident of Connecticut. We found him through the regular kind of networking, not the social online networking hootenanny. We had our DP on our prior project, who was our lighting guy on the project before that, went to school with him and said, he's this great guy, we should bring him in. So we did, and he was great. And
Go on.
and we love him dearly. And then the DP, whom he brought in as his lighting assistant, turned out to be an unreliable human being. So Jacob got a promotion. So remember, be reliable. It's good.
I'm fond of it.
In terms of other ways that we've used the internet, our CGI guy, John Dusek, is wonderful. We found him by finding his CGI reel online. He lives in Arizona. And normally this is the kind of collaboration that you could never have. They're across the country. You would never need or want or be able to work with this person. But Richard found him, started corresponding by email, and it's gotten to the point now where, if we have CGI that needs to be done, Richard digitizes the shot, sends it to him by IM. He works on it that night, the next day, sends it back to us again, just, by instant message, and it's great. It's a perfect collaboration that we could otherwise never have. And it also helps that he has the exact same camera we do, so when we need an establishing shot in the desert, which God knows how we would have gotten that, but we know a guy who's in Arizona with the same camera we have, so we have an establishing shot of the desert. It's great.
I think also sites, any kind of social network like Facebook and MySpace really is invaluable to the independent filmmaker right now, because so many CG artists, directors, actors are throwing up MySpaces and they're throwing up Facebooks and they're creating
Throwing
this.
up being the appropriate term. Sorry.
throwing up, presences on these social networks, and they really are great because you can throw up a little reel of what you have or multiple reels, and you can see what they're made of. You can see it right away, and all it takes is shooting them an email and saying, "What are you doing? Would you like to be interested in working on this project?" And they send you something back saying, "Yes, I would." And next thing you know, you've got this collaboration that comes from Facebook or MySpace, and it's really a fantastic tool for networking, or for actors to find productions, or for production people to find productions going on, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? It really is a good tool.
What is next for this film?
This film, we are, let's see, we're doing some limited theatrical. We're just kind of finding every last independent theater in the Northeast. There aren't many of them, sadly, but we're pretty much setting up screenings all through those. Hopefully at some of them there will be a Catholic without a sense of humor. We really look forward to that. In fact, if you know any Catholics without senses of humor,
We
please
want to be
send them.
picketed. We want to be picketed.
I mean, picketing is my is my dream. So that's the hope. After that, maybe we'll throw it through some film festivals, but we've had pretty good luck with online distribution for ourselves, because the traditional channels of distribution we've worked with several times before, they're great, but their business model is in severe danger, as any of them will tell you if they're being honest. So, goodness only knows. Maybe there will be a new business model coming around for the equivalent of direct-to-DVD distribution. I haven't seen it yet. If it comes around, we'll be very happy to jump on that bandwagon once it's vaguely proven. But until then, we'll do distribution ourselves and be perfectly happy with it.
That sort of anticipated my next question, which is about the merits of a theatrical release today. Is it worth it? How important is it that a movie be in theaters?
Any thoughts? Going once, going twice?
I actually don't think it's that important. The word of mouth that we have had about our film has drawn so many people to check it out. For me, I'm actually Catholic, and I'm a lesbian nun in this movie, so it was a stretch for me. But after seeing the final product, I realized what an amazing piece it is, and it wasn't offensive in the ways that I was scared that it would be.
It's offensive in totally different ways.
Right. My parents, who are very strict, have gone. My grandparents, who are very strict, have gone. And I've gotten such great feedback, and that word of mouth travels. And I think that if you have a good film, you have a good product, that it will go places. People will recognize it. It may take a while because we're not at every showcase cinema, but, people will hear about your great movie, and hopefully, that it will spread as far as possible.
Thank you. Let me ask you then, and maybe we'll start with you, Alex, about the casting process. How did each of the actors on this film who are on this panel end up where they ended up? How'd you guys get there?
This is actually my third Scorpio film.
Yes.
So I started out as an opening scene to a movie that we did called Splatter Disco, and then I upgraded a little to Dunwich Horror. Now I've fully blossomed into none of that. We all have amazing relationships, and working for Scorpio is totally, I know it sounds so cliche, but it's like working for a family. And we are all so close and care about each other so much that is a great reason why I never want to leave this group.
Like many family businesses, we exploit people terribly.
Totally.
So that's what she means when she says "like unto a family."
And Sarah?
This is also my third Scorpio film releasing film. I was
We
also
have them sign in blood.
when you sign up, you get a 3-picture deal. I also started in Splatter Disco, which was 2 years ago, and then I was in the film Beyond the Dunwich
Referred to
Horror.
us by William Dukoff.
Yes, we were actually both referred
Right.
by William Dukoff, who's an actor that we worked in a short film
Amazing,
with.
amazing actor. I mean, if you guys don't know who he is William Dukoff is actually an amazing actor, and he actually introduced Sarah and I to Richard and Ted, which was Scorpio, and it has definitely changed our life within the industry. So I mean,
Absolutely.
it's really great. It really is.
So networking, yay.
Totally networking. That's what everything is. You know, when you know people and they're confident in what you do and your abilities, you will go far.
So work on lots of projects and impress your co-actors.
Yes.
And don't be a
Yes.
diva.
And how about you, Michael?
I had worked on, Sarah Nicklin had worked on Splatter Disco 3 pictures before, none of that. And I had met Sarah Nicklin on a picture that we did, not Scorpio related. And then she brought me in to meet the group, and I auditioned for Beyond the Dunwich Horror and got the leading role in that, and then was offered the None of That role after that.
And now they're getting married.
Yeah, so that's another
Yes.
that's another tip.
Yes.
Always sleep with your co-stars because they'll get you roles. Actually,
Yeah,
don't.
everybody you write for her to be with is never me.
We're trying to give her a hint.
I think honestly, Alex and I have made out more times.
Sarah and I are usual partners
Yes.
with Scorpio Films. Prior to Scorpio Films, for some reason, Sarah and I are always lesbian
Yes.
lovers. It's just the way our careers will go forever. So, Michael,
Family
I hope
production
you don't
company.
mind, Michael, but we're here to stay.
For Disney.
They're here. They're lesbians. Get used to it.
Right.
You gotta make money. You gotta put asses in seats, people. That's what the business is about.
By the way, if anyone has questions, just signal. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep going here. One of the things I'd heard about this film in terms of its origins is that it was originally, I guess what it was derived from was in response to one of those 48-hour film festivals. Do you guys know about those festivals? Yeah. Perhaps in keeping with that, as I'm watching it, suddenly there's this incredible musical number, and Ted told me this was one of these sort of spontaneous 24-hour things. Can anyone tell me a little bit about where did that come from?
Okay,
It's
so
great.
Richard Griffin is the director. He loves to throw a monkey wrench into my tightly constructed schedules and plans, and so about 3 or 4 days before we were to shoot the scene in Nun Heaven, which is a nightclub, he said, "You know what I think would really make this better is if it were a musical number." So he called up a composer friend of ours and said, "Marty, I bet you $200 that you cannot write, compose, and produce a song for us in 48 hours about how much Jesus loves nuns for Jesus to sing in this scene." And Marty said, "You betcha, I'm broke right now." And he wrote a song. It's incredible. And we gave it to Michael, and he had overnight to memorize it and to create a kind of a lip sync routine to it. And then we shot on the fly. And it was crazy, and I didn't think it was going to work, and I wanted to kill Richard until I saw it edited together.
It's definitely one of the most catching parts of the movie because
Yes.
I did not have a hand in being in those scenes or filming them. And when I saw them, and I've seen them quite a few times, it's utterly amazing. I
It's
mean,
a
Michael does an
showstopper.
amazing job, and the song is just so great. Yeah.
It's
So-
really catchy Euro pop.
Definitely.
Sort of, decadent weirdness.
So the music lawyer in me can't help but ask, have you thought about releasing it as a standalone, the music video?
We have been asked so many times
I
whether
bet you
this
have
song is
been.
going to be available. It's more a question of whether my brain can handle the iTunes thing. Like right now, I'm trying to like fight my way through Amazon and try to figure out like what's the best way to sell on Amazon so that they won't take a gigantic cut. And okay, well, how can we get it into Netflix? This, that, and the other thing. So iTunes is on the list. It's coming eventually. It's just the first limit that it's hitting is my sanity. So all in good time.
I have to say, of course, a little anecdote about that is he did throw that monkey wrench in, and he does like to. Splatter Disco was a musical slasher.
It
Slasher
was
musical.
not written as a musical.
I mean, it wasn't, but it had some musical pieces in it, which
It has
were
like
phenomenal.
3 or 4.
Okay, it's
And they
all right.
make it so much better.
But so he brought that into none of that, and he said, let's make this Jesus scene, this where I am introduced to the lead nun, where she comes up to heaven, and there's a musical number, and I was like, I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that. And he called Hildreth, Daniel Hildreth? No, Marty
O'Connor.
Marty O'Connor. And man, we got the piece, and it was blown away by it, and we're like, okay, this is amazing.
I suspect he consumed a large amount of methamphetamine.
We're like, I can't believe this guy
Yeah.
came
We
up
didn't
with this
hear
in
that
a short
here.
period of time that he did. It's amazing. I mean, it really is amazing. I'm not just saying that. And so they're like, okay, so what do I do with this? Okay, you have 24 hours to memorize this.
To
And I
lip sync it
to lip sync it
perfectly.
perfectly and memorize it. There's, and so I get this, and I'm listening to it on CD over and over and over and over and over and over. Like I cannot, it's burned in my brain. And then we get to set, and they're like, okay, what are we gonna do about blocking? What are we gonna do about choreography? And we came up with it on the fly, and I was really
There's
impressed.
a little
I wasn't
Busby
sure.
Berkeley, nuns making a cross, seen from above. It's great.
It was what we came up with. Just was really cool, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe that. So I was really impressed with how that came out. So.
It was actually pretty challenging for me too, because I show up Friday night and they say we've
Can you
added.
hear? Can everybody hear him? Because how do you?
Sorry. It was challenging for me too because I show up Friday night and they say we've added a musical number, and musical numbers have a lot more shots than a normal scene do. You've got to cut a lot faster, and it was a smaller crew than I'd expected that weekend, so it was pretty difficult. But
we drafted like 2 or 3 actors to be lighting people for us. Like it's one of those like, okay, you have vaguely steady hands. Move that roughly to there. Please don't break it. Jesus, please don't break it. And then Jacob goes around and like adjusts things so that they actually point in the right direction as opposed to like, I don't know, the ceiling or something.
And that day we lost like 3 lights, and
Well, that didn't have
was
to do with
cold.
the actors.
Very
It was
cold.
so cold in that place. There was no heating. It was a huge dance club, and they weren't there at the moment. The dance club had closed down, and it
It was
was
the middle of winter,
middle
and they
winter,
turned the
closed
heat
down.
off.
It was cold.
Oh my god.
and
Great location, but
Great
super
location.
cold. It's worth it, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, Jacob, one of the things you just mentioned is that you had a smaller crew than you expected, and Ted, you referred to recruiting actors as crew. This is a great segue to talk about money. How you get a budget for your film today. How do you, and how did you?
You don't. Okay. None of that was basically the money from Splatter Disco, which we had been hired to produce. It was actually an EI Cinema production. Sorry, Pop Cinema production. They changed their name. It was a Pop Cinema production that we were hired to make. So the money that we were paid from that went into making Beyond the Dunwich Horror, and some of it went into making None of That. Before that, we were really scraping along pretty nastily. It's tough. I don't think anyone here was with us for our first 3 pictures, which the budgetary issues were such that food was sometimes an issue. Now at least we feed people. It's an insane thing for me.
Very much appreciated, Ted.
Yeah.
People don't do it all the time, man, I'm telling you.
Yeah, so our first 3 were pretty rough to scrape together the budget. I'm just thankful that, you know, I'm that kind of person who can, like, deny themselves consumer luxuries and therefore can save money to put into films. I'm kind of like an addict that way. But then Splatter Disco, we had done a couple of films that were acquired by Pop Cinema, who was then EI at the time, and they said, you know, we'd really like you to make a film for us. So Splatter Disco was relatively smooth sailing on the money front, and then we've used the proceeds from that to make our last two films. And we'll see what's going on from here on out. It'll depend on how well our two Beyond the Dunwich Horror and None of That do for us. You know, it's kind of like having children that you then decide to put out on the street to make money for you. Feels sort of the same, too.
I think the biggest thing is if you have love for the business, you have love for the craft, and you truly believe in a story, at least personally speaking, I don't know about anyone else on this panel, but I will work without being paid because I truly see the vision that these people have. And to me, that's so much more important than a paycheck at the end of the week. I mean, unfortunately, I have a 9-to-5, and acting is my passion. But if I get this opportunity with these people who are so amazing, that I will take that and I will do that without pay because I truly believed in their final product.
And the more mercenary way of looking at that is if you have a film that has gone into distribution, actors are more willing to work with you because they believe that it will actually be finished. So many,
Right.
so many films, people shoot a film,
Don't
and
do
then
anything.
it graces their bookshelf for for the rest of all eternity, and nobody ever sees it.
Or
And
they
that's really a
choose to
crying
shoot
shame.
a trailer to bring funds to their feature, and that never happens.
That never
I mean, that is a
comes.
huge thing that happens. When we talk about budget, they're like, I have a great budget for a trailer that we're going to shoot, and it's going to create a feature-length film, and that really, for independent micro-budget films, that rarely happens. So.
I'll be honest with you,
Shoot a feature.
It is
Get
a
done. Do it.
really, really tough time for the movie business. I think we all know that. When a new business model comes around, then we'll see what's going on. I believe it will happen. I don't know what it is yet.
Great. Great.
You don't need 100K to make a
No.
feature film.
No.
God,
Just so
we-
you guys
we
know,
made
so
this-
many people.
We made
they-
none of that for about $10,000.
$10,000.
It looks really, really,
And
really
so many of these films are like, I need to hold a red carpet
No.
fundraiser to make money for my 100K film because I want it so and so. Just make a feature and
No-
see
no
how
need
it goes.
to
These are
knock
people that are
people.
making first features. They're like, I need 100K. It's like, just
You
make
don't.
a 10K feature and have fun, you know. And anyway, I have an issue.
Soapboxes, they're great. Okay.
Would anyone have any further questions? I think it looks like our time is nearly up, so I just want to check and see before we go. Any questions? Yes?
So you really shop around 9-to-5 jobs, like after hours and weekends?
Every weekend.
I had-
Every weekend.
I had 2 other jobs during this. I worked
Wow.
at a TV station and a full-time job at a restaurant, so.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I am very thankful that I have a job where they're a little more flexible. It's still a 9-to-5, but if I need to take off in the middle of the day to go talk to a location, they're okay with that, as long as I make up the time later, which is so necessary for producing. But yes, we shot around 9-to-5, around 9-to-5 jobs. We all have them.
I think the biggest thing with a 9-to-5 job is that you need to be committed, and that's a really big thing in this industry. Is if you're not committed, the work is not going to get done. And we all have jobs. Most of us work Monday to Friday. Some of us work weekends, but we make that time and we put that. I mean, I would wake up at 5, 6 in the morning and I'd be crying my eyes out, But I go to set and I know what I want to happen, and I respect their vision, and I want to be there,
I'd like to-
and that's a big thing.
I'd like to come back to Alex's choice of the word committed. And I'm just going to leave that comment hanging. You have to be a little crazy.
Definitely.
You basically have 2 jobs when you've decided to make a film. You have the one that actually pays the bills, and you
Right.
have the one that you love. And all of your free time goes into making that
Every
film.
last bloody
Every single
second.
minute. goes into the thing that you love, and it
At
has
the
to
level
be
we're
that
at,
way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It was worth it, though.
Yeah,
Definitely worth
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. Do it again.
It's a wonderful film, and I really want to see the end of it. I heard there was this amazing scene in an Italian restaurant. We ended just before we got there, so hopefully Ted will let me talk him into giving me a chance to see the rest of it before the day is out. Yes.
When are you looking to showcase in New York?
Good
Let's
question.
See. We are.
Let me just repeat. The question was, when will this showcase in New York?
Yeah, we've got a couple of showings lined up. We've got one in July in Lincoln, Rhode Island. We've got one in August at the Coolidge Corner in Boston. We've got another one in August in New York City. We haven't pinned down the exact date yet, and I've got a couple more leads from people, thankfully, about other theaters in New York that might be, amicable to these kinds of things. So. Short answer, keep checking the website, scorpiofilmreleasing.net. The internet, it's great.
Great. Any other questions? Nope. Okay, well, I want to thank all of the members of this panel for being here and for doing such good work, and Scorpio Film too. This has just been really great talking to you guys tonight, and thank you, all of you, for being here.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Now, Michael, you can sing the song while you guys.
Yeah, right. We'll
We'll
do
dance.
it.
Wait, we'll do the Valley arm.
The Valley arms.
You don't want me to.